The story of Ruth begins with sorrow. A family from Bethlehem, Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons moved to Moab because of famine. There, tragedy struck. Elimelech died, leaving Naomi a widow. Her sons later married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, but soon both sons died as well. Naomi, grieving and broken, decided to return to her homeland. She urged her daughters-in-law to stay in Moab and rebuild their lives. Orpah wept, kissed Naomi goodbye, and returned to her people. But Ruth clung to Naomi. In that moment, Ruth's words would echo through history. Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. This was more than loyalty. It was love, trust, and faith woven together. Ruth chose uncertainty and hardship over comfort and familiarity simply because she trusted Naomi and the God Naomi served. Naomi and Ruth journeyed back to Bethlehem. Imagine the long walk, dusty roads, and weary steps of 2 widows with little to their names. Naomi carried bitterness in her heart, while Ruth carried hope. Their journey was not just physical, it was spiritual. When Naomi arrived, the townspeople were shocked. "Is this Naomi?" they asked. She replied, "Don't call me Naomi, pleasant. Call me Mara, bitter, for the Lord has dealt bitterly with me." But Ruth stood silently beside her, choosing love over despair. The timing of their return was significant. It was the beginning of the barley harvest. This tiny detail opened the door for what was to come. Ruth's faithfulness positioned her exactly where God wanted her. The lesson here is powerful. Even when our lives feel empty, loyalty and love can create pathways to new beginnings. Sometimes we must keep walking even when the road is uncertain. To provide for Naomi, Ruth went to glean in the fields, picking up leftover grain after the harvesters. By chance, or divine providence, she found herself in the field of Boaz, a wealthy landowner and a relative of Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed her immediately. He asked his workers about her, and they explained Ruth's loyalty, how she left her homeland to stay with Naomi. Boaz was deeply moved. He approached Ruth and said, "Stay in my field. I've ordered the men not to harm you. Drink from the water jars when you're thirsty." Ruth bowed, asking why he would show kindness to a foreigner. Boaz replied, "I've heard of your kindness to Naomi. May the Lord repay you. This scene is rich in meaning." Ruth's humble work, her determination, and her reputation for loyalty opened doors she never expected. It shows us that our actions, even quiet, faithful ones, do not go unnoticed. As the days went on, Boaz continued to show kindness. He told his harvesters to leave extra grain for Ruth to gather. She returned home with an abundance, far more than Naomi expected. Naomi's heart, once bitter, began to soften. Naomi recognized God's hand at work. She exclaimed, "Blessed be the man who took notice of you." She revealed that Boaz was a kinsman redeemer, a family relative with the right to redeem their situation. This idea of redemption is central to the story. It's not only about survival, it's about restoration, protection, and love. Boaz's generosity foreshadows something greater, the redeeming love of God that restores broken lives. Through Ruth's loyalty and Boaz's kindness, Naomi began to see hope again. It reminds us that love and trust have the power to heal even the deepest bitterness. Naomi, now filled with hope, devised a plan. She instructed Ruth to approach Boaz during the harvest festival. After the workers had eaten and fallen asleep, Ruth was to uncover Boaz's feet and lie there, a symbolic act of humility and request for protection. Though unusual to modern ears, this was a culturally respectful way of asking Boaz to be her redeemer. Ruth, ever loyal, obeyed Naomi's instructions. In the quiet night, Boaz awoke to find Ruth at his feet. Shocked, he asked, "Who are you?" Ruth replied softly, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." This moment was filled with courage. Ruth risked her reputation and future on trust. Trust in Naomi's wisdom, trust in Boaz's character, and trust in God's plan. Boaz was deeply moved by Ruth's boldness and kindness. He praised her for not chasing after younger men, but for seeking what was honorable and right. Yet, Boaz also knew there was another relative closer in line who had the first right to redeem Naomi's family. Boaz promised Ruth, "Stay here until morning. I will settle this matter. If he will redeem you, good. But if not, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it." He sent Ruth home with generous gifts of grain so that Naomi would not be empty-handed. Boaz's response was not impulsive. It was wise, patient, and guided by integrity. This teaches us that love is not reckless. It is thoughtful, respectful, and rooted in trust. Ruth's loyalty was about to meet Boaz's faithfulness in a way that would change everything. Boaz went to the city gate, the place where legal matters were settled. He gathered elders and called the nearer relative. He offered the opportunity for the man to redeem Naomi's land and care for Ruth. At first, the man agreed, but when he realized it meant marrying Ruth and preserving the family name, he declined. Boaz then stepped forward. In the presence of witnesses, he declared, "I will redeem it. I will take Ruth as my wife." The elders blessed the union, saying, "May the Lord make Ruth like Rachel and Leah, who built the house of Israel." This public act was more than a legal exchange. It was a testimony of God's providence. Through Ruth's loyalty and Boaz's faithfulness, a broken family line was restored. Boaz and Ruth married, and their union was filled with joy. What began with grief and loss blossomed into love and redemption. Ruth, once a foreign widow, became part of God's chosen people. Their marriage was not only a blessing for them, but for the entire community. Naomi, once bitter and empty, now held her grandson in her arms. The women of the town said, "Naomi has a son." Hope had returned, and joy overflowed. This shows us how loyalty and trust can transform not only our lives, but the lives of those around us. Ruth's choice to follow Naomi led to a destiny she could never have imagined. The child born to Ruth and Boaz was Obed. Obed became the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David, the greatest king of Israel. Generations later, from David's line came Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. Think about it. One act of loyalty by Ruth, a Moabite woman, set into motion a chain of events that shaped salvation history. Her story reminds us that faithfulness in small things can lead to unimaginable blessings. God often works through ordinary people who show extraordinary love and trust. Ruth's life is proof that loyalty is never wasted. So what can we learn from Ruth's story? Loyalty is powerful. Trusting God's plan, even when it seems uncertain, brings hope. Love, when expressed through selflessness, transforms lives. Ruth teaches us that our background, culture, or past do not define our future. What matters is faith, integrity, and courage. Her story encourages us to walk faithfully, even in hard times, and to love deeply, even when it costs us something. When you choose loyalty, whether in family, friendships, or faith, you participate in something bigger than yourself. Like Ruth, your story may leave a legacy that touches generations to come. So, the next time life asks for trust and love, remember Ruth. Her loyalty changed history. What might yours do?